Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello. We are live. I believe we are. I'm just waiting for everything to clock on. How is everybody? Okay. We are good. We are good. So welcome everyone to tonight live show, Tuesday night live show. I know some of you have been like not interested, but I know that the time is coming. One of the things about the Black Swan Relationship Academy, we're always ahead of the curve.
Yes.
We're always dealing with stuff that we know is going to show up very, very soon. I was saying to somebody the other day, I think it was my PR or somebody, that we are leaving the age of the advice, relationship advice, agony aunt. That age is swiftly coming to a close. And we're entering into the age of education. We're actually coming to a point, and there's a massive shift that is happening soon that is going to compel people to education. And guess who's going to be waiting? The Black Swan Relationship Academy, because we've been telling you that it's about an education, not about running around looking for advice. So I'm joined today by Yvonne, who is going to be with me as usual. Our Unique is out and about doing having a good time, and she's taken some time out, so we're really excited for her. She's going to see Queen Bee. She's going to be at Beyonce's concert because that's who she is. She's a party animal. She loves a good party. So she's dismissed today, and our other coaches were not able to make it. So it's going to be your two favorites. What can I cite? You get the best. So welcome, Yvonne, to tonight's show. I've got lots to, thank you. I've got lots to ask you. We all want to hear from Coach Yvonne because she's our Yoda. That's what we call her in the team. She's Yoda. Comes up with all the wise and fun and thought-provoking stuff. So we're all very excited to tap into this. But I just want to give it a preamble before I toss the ball to Yvonne to answer some important questions that I know you all have. And, this topic really came up for me when I was actually doing some tags in my videos, and I saw dating coaches as scams. And I thought, oh, okay, this is interesting. And of course, I kind of I live in a cave, as we all know. So I did a bit of research, and I realized, oh, there's a whole kind of movement and a dissatisfaction within the coaching world and industry. It was bound to come. I saw it a mile away. I have gone in channels and dug my head in despair because I cannot do what you said, especially in the manosphere. I mean, the toxicity in the manosphere for me outweighs the toxicity in any feminine space. I know there is loads in the feminine space, but whoa, I really, really felt sorry. And I was saying to my son, I'm so sorry, because I really feel like there are a lot of men that are going to die alone. And that the whole move, this whole sort of red pill, black pill is actually going to do men more harm than good, and I really feel sorry for men, because a lot of manosphere leaders are very feminine. They're women, like literally. And so it's just devastating. The whole thing is devastating from the man's perspective. And yes, we have, I think, within the feminine space, there's a lot of promises to date a lot of rich men, a lot of kind of gold digger channels, a lot of this is how you're going to get yourself a rich man, and all of this stuff. And we love it, and it's fantastic. It's great, and we want to feel like we can live the dream, and with somebody who's going to help us live the dream. And so, these channels are like skyrocketing, like everything else that shoots up overnight, it also crumbles overnight. So a lot of kind of false promises, a lot of kind of grandeur. And that's really because it's not necessarily their fault. It's really the kind of fault of the social media companies, who, a little bit like our subconscious mind, they don't really pay attention to the impact or the morality or the ethics. They pay attention to what is entertaining, what is fascinating, what people are gravitating to, what is comfortable. And let's face it, we come on social media for entertainment. So channels that are entertaining, coaches that are entertaining, say all the right things at the right time, that tickle our ears, they're going to skyrocket. They're going to hit those million mark and those 500,000 mark. And amongst them are some legitimate, really good, really amazing coaches as well. But for the most part, it's just a lot of great marketing, great PR, great advertising. And so we are all kind of getting disillusioned in some way, shape, or form. And some of us were disillusioned because they've paid for coaches. They have, put a lot of money and didn't get the result that they wanted. We won't be able to cover absolutely everything, answer these questions, tell you why these things happen. I can give you a million stories from my practice of years and years and years, and so can Yvonne. But we're not going to get into the nitty-gritty. What we're going to do today is really support you in finding the right support and help. I said in my Instagram today in the advert that the coaching world evolved as a result of the dispersion of family and community. A lot of what we do in the coaching world is really what uncles, aunts, big sisters, mothers would have been teaching, the younger in the community. And it would have been relevant because they would have been teaching them about a community they've been in from the beginning of time. And so they knew the underbelly of that community and how love worked in that community and how love worked in the dynamics. But now we are global. We're dating cross-culturally. We're dating across borders. We are doing all kinds of crazy things. And so professionals like myself and the team have come to the surface in order to answer the cry of the lost, but also have the wolves. So today, hopefully, we're going to give you some red flags to look for when you're choosing who to listen to, because it's really important that you're careful about the content you take in. So what are some of the red flags and what are some of the green flags that you can go by to choose? Now, I want to get two ugly beasts out of the room, and I'm going to address the two monsters and see what Yvonne has to say about them. And the first one, Yvonne, is it a red flag when you're taking dating or relationship advice from somebody who doesn't have a relationship, who is not married? Because I know that's a big theme. What are your thoughts? Do you think that somebody can give dating advice who is divorced, not married, never been married? What are your thoughts?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Great to be here with you. Right. Can I take advice from someone who isn't married, may not have been married, or may be divorced but hasn't still found her Mr. Right yet? And I do believe we can. Dependent on, look, here's the thing. When we go on line and you're looking for dating advice, or you're looking for a coach, you know what your problem is. The coach doesn't. You're either going to go on a recommendation, or there's somebody that you see, she's said something, or she's doing something in the way in which she moves, the way in which she carries herself, that resonates with you.
Right.
If it's a case of she happens to be married and you think, you know what, she's making a lot of sense and the things that she's saying and doing is great, then, and you gravitate towards her. But on the flip side of that, there's somebody else over on the other side who's giving even better advice, but she happens to be not married. So because you are wanting to get married, you go for the one who's married, and then you come away quite disgruntled, or it could be vice versa. But the person, don't look at the fact that the person is not married and not choose them and choose the other one, because you have many, many, many advisors, coaches out there who are married, but their marriages are not happy in the slightest. They're going through so many different things that you can't imagine it. And don't forget, we're women. We know how to paint that smile on our faces. We know the words to use. We know what to say. We know it all, and how to present and make everybody believe that, you know what, all is well with me. All you have to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, and you've got it. No, that isn't the way at all. So it is better for you to go with one who's, she's been in a relationship. It so happens it didn't work. She may have had a few of them, but it didn't work. And guess what? That gave her the catalyst for her to go out there, get educated, so that she can help women to find the right person that she has. It has eluded her until now. But what she has done is she's able to help you to avoid the pitfalls. And that has got to be better than somebody who's going to sell you something that is not going to serve you in the long run.
Yes, I agree. And I know it's really interesting because I was watching a video today, and this young lady was talking about why dating coaches are scammy and why all of them must never be trusted. And I was kind of really intently listening because I love to listen to people and what they have to say. And then she followed up with, but I am a qualified, I have a degree and a master's and whatever. But what was really interesting is as I was watching, before she revealed that information, I was thinking, this young lady really needs therapy. She needs to do some work on herself, because I sensed very much that she was very angry and bitter. And I was thinking, I mean, she was talking about, all these things, but I was kind of thinking, she needs work. So here we are with somebody with a whole bunch of degrees and a whole bunch of, and I've got this and I've got that. And on the other hand, she needs a lot of work on herself. And for me, it was exactly the point that you're making, that somebody can come with the big degrees and the big PhDs and the big whatever and be messed up. I work with people with PhDs in psychology, doctors in psychology, coaches, healers, that are renowned and respected. And, they have the same stuff going on. And they help a lot of people, but they have the same stuff going on. So I think it's about taking away this idea that, I had a young lady in my inbox say, I saw you on this particular person's podcast, and I really, really want to buy your courses, but I have one question before I do. Are you married? So obviously, this happens a lot. And every single dating coach will tell you that this happens a lot. So it didn't really faze me in any way, but I did feel sorry for her, because I've come to a point in my career where I have nothing to prove to people. I think I've done all my proving, thank goodness. But I knew that that was a prejudice that had been put in her head by somebody. And often the people that put those prejudices in our heads are wanting to manipulate and exploit, because maybe I am the married person and I want your business and I want your whatever. So I'm going to say, don't be listening to those people. There's a lot of competition in the space. And so I didn't really engage it, because again, I've kind of come to a point where I really have nothing to prove. When I was in my new career, I would have probably gone to town and had this long debate with her. But it was really sad, because it's very similar to saying, look, I would love, you are the number one oncologist for cancer treatment, love to be cancer free, but just wondering, have you ever had cancer, and have you ever recovered from cancer?
Because
if you're not a recovering cancer patient, I don't think I could use your practice. And then you think, well, okay, go find a doctor that's had cancer and overcome it, if that makes you feel better. But again, that's a really good thing. And I think ultimately my advice is go with what feels good for you. If the idea that somebody hasn't got a ring on their finger and they don't have the life that you say that they should have, and that doesn't sit well with you, go find somebody who does have it, but make sure that that they genuinely do have it, and it's not just another fascia. So yeah, great. The other one, obviously I sort of touched on it a little bit. There's the two elephants in the room. Is it a red flag if a coach is not qualified? They don't have a kind of tertiary education or a certificate from the Institute of the whatnot and the whatnot. Do you think that is that a red flag? Should people be like, okay, show me your certificates first before I can work with you? Or what are your thoughts on that, Yvonne?
I don't agree with that. I don't think that, look, somebody wants help, and you go online and you look and you find this person over here, and she's got this from Harvard, this from this other college, Brown's, and all the universities that you can absolutely want. But she doesn't have 1 ounce of empathy in her at all. Yes, she's qualified and she's got everything, but there's no empathy. She's cold and distant with all her clients, and everyone who goes to her, they actually never finish it, because they realize actually you've made me worse than made me better. And you have somebody who's gone to local tech, or done different courses online from many of renowned coaches, who now have their own courses that they do for people wanting to become courses. Okay, at the end of it, you don't get a master's, but what you get is a certificate to say that you finished the course. But here's the thing that they've taught you: how to to have empathy with the person that's sitting in front of you. They've taught you how to speak to them kindly. They've taught you how to read the person that is with you and understand what it is they're going through. You know about the traumas that is happening with them, and how to readjust their neurological pathways to get them back on track to where they're going. Which is better, somebody with a master's in, or somebody who knows how to do that, that is going to help you and be there with you, give you a safe space where that you can talk, embrace you as a human being and help you, which is the better of the two to have. The degree, great, we thank you that you went to uni and you did this. Doesn't mean that you're any better than the person who went to, a school that maybe wasn't as reputable as yours, but they have as much, or if not more, than you can give.
Absolutely, I agree. And I also feel that a lot of people don't understand what coaching is.
Yes.
Coaching used to be available only to the rich and famous.
Yes.
Coaching is not something like therapy, where therapy was available as a medical, almost within the medical clinical field, where we're really dealing with helping people regulate, come out of depression, come out of, traumas, etc., which is sort of more clinical. Coaches were an elite thing, only people who were elite singers had vocal coaches, only elite athletes had personal coaches, only the Oprahs had personal coaches. Coaching was very much a luxury, and still is. And I think a lot of people feel some kind of way when they pay luxury prices for a luxury service, right? Coaching is not a necessity for your mental health. Coaching is for people who want to supercharge their efforts and gain results in a short amount of time. So you only get a business coach if you want to go from 6 figures to 7 figures in record time, as opposed to trial and error for the next 5 years until you work it out yourself. So coaching was an accelerant that separated the average from the extraordinary. So if you wanted to stop being average and you wanted to be extraordinary, then of course you would get a coach. A coach is a luxury, but what happened is in everything else, coaching became a thing. When I started coaching, I was one of the first coaches ever I know in England, because coaching as a course, as a qualification, I was one of the first students that were piloting it, the coaching certifications through. And, when that became possible for the average person to get a qualification or whatever, then it made coaching more accessible to the average person as well. So what was only available to celebrities now became available to the average person. But as coaching evolved, what happened was, as with the celebrities, you were not a coach because you're qualified. You were not a coach because you had a degree. You had a coach because you're a results-focused person. You were able to create a result repeatedly in people's lives. And that's really the point of the coach, is results-orientated. Therapy is not results-orientated, it's regulation, balancing, right? Bringing people to a place where they are self-regulated, co-regulated, and in balance. Coaching is results, results, results. A coach is worth the results, not the whatever. So when the average person was able to actually create results in another, then they were able to call themselves a coach. It is not a regulated industry, and I love that about it. I love that it allows somebody who is gifted and talented. I mean, the coaches that are out here are amazing. You know, you've got, I've seen singing coaches. I've seen, the other day I saw a really cool coach. I forget what it was. And I thought, wow, I would have never thought about coaching in that area, but it's actually really important. Things that we take for granted that we think we should know, somebody actually is really good at it. You know, time management and how to manage your time, and they coach people on that, and people become millionaires from managing their time better. And I was thinking, that's amazing. And that's the beauty of people being able to tap into their gifts and their natural propensity and help other people create the same result or better results that supercharge their lives. I love that. But on the other hand, because it's not regulated, it's open to all the wolves. And I would love it to stay unregulated, but I think that the consumer has got to be super savvy and really take on the mindset, which I believe you were saying earlier before the recording started, which was let's date the coaches, let's date, let's explore. You know, you don't have to just work with that person or else, you know, see how you get on, see if there's empathy, see if there's compatibility, see if this person resonates well, see if this person has the results that you want. And so segueing from that, can you give us maybe one red flag that our swans can look for when you're deciding what content to listen to or who to work with? Do you have a red flag that you might want to share, Yvonne?
A red flag to be mindful of is if you're speaking to someone and they say to you, I guarantee you that within a month, you will have found your man and he will be ready to propose to you. Run for the hills, because you cannot guarantee that is going to happen with anyone. If somebody's going to, or another, follow these 5-7 steps, and you will, and turn your relationship from toxic to, him falling in love with you within, follow these 5 steps. No, it's not going to happen. That is so, there are so many. If somebody then also, says that if you're sitting in front of the person and all they're saying to you is, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, and when you do this, then this is going to happen, and do this, and that's the first time you've sat with them. They haven't done any preliminary work with you. They haven't, other than knowing your name and you've paid them, what else is, they don't know any past history about you. They don't know anything, but within 5 minutes of you sitting in front of them, they're giving you a prescription for you to go and do. But they know nothing about you. They have made no inquiry of you. They're just ticking things off and say, right, do this, do this, do this. And then when you've done that, then you need to do this. And then this one will work over here. But they don't know who you are. They know nothing about you. And they think they've found a solution to what it is that you want. The thing is, when you are looking for coaching, there is something that you feel that is not quite right with the things that you have been doing, and it has not worked. So you've come to somebody who's going to aid you into into changing the way in which things are done. But in order for that to happen, they need to know where it is that you've come from in order for them to point you in the right direction of where you should be going. And if they don't know you and they've not inquired of you, then they're not going to be able to advise you. So if you sit in front of the person and they're giving you blum, 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 again, please run. Thank them very much for their time and say that, no, because you're always polite, always kind. Thank them very much, but you don't think it's going to work. And, wish them a good day and contact Black Swan.
Yes, I would definitely do that. I love that. I agree. I actually had a few notes that I wrote down, and I genuinely believe one of the biggest red to amber flags, and I call it amber because we do have to work with algorithms here,
Yes.
even here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, we will put 5 signs to whatever, because we have to work with algorithms, and algorithms unfortunately favor lighthearted, entertaining kind of titles. So you definitely do want to click on it, because if you click any of our 5 signs or whatever, you're going to get you're going to have meat in there. It's not just going to be, why don't you turn to the left and show him your bottom and then it's all yours. It's not, it's not that kind of, it's not, show him your tits and bits, it's not that kind of content, and anybody who's in our community knows it's not that kind of content. But we would, and have in the past, used really catchy titles, because it's the name of the game. If your videos, I know that I've always struggled with that personally, and if you look at the video titles lately, they're getting very few views, because I'm actually titling the videos based on what's in them, and I know it's not entertaining for most people, but I'm committed to stay authentic, and we'll see how far that leads us. But there's some really great coaches who do a lot of clickbaity kind of titles. But here's one that I definitely would want our little internal senses to go in, and that's segueing off what Coach Yvonne is saying. Tips, tricks, and hacks. Fly by night, don't know anything about you, but this is going to work anyway, right? We don't want to particularly follow channels that do nothing but give us tips, tricks, and hacks. There is no hacking, there are no tips, and I personally get so annoyed when I go on radio or have to write articles that are 5 tips to, I hate it. But I understand that people have to sell newspapers, because tips have never created relationships. You can't build a relationship on tips. That is like building on shifting sand. So if a whole channel is about tips and tricks, and if when you meet the coach, like Yvonne was saying, all they do is give you tips. Well, try this and try. Well, who is this person? Do they have anxious attachment style? What is their trauma?
Yes.
Are they dismissive avoidant? Do they have a history of sexual violence? Who is this person? Just giving random tips to somebody may get them a result, but usually these are the results that don't last. These are the results that can even do damage, because do you even know the person that they're trying to get? Do you know if that person is healthy? Do you know if the tips and tricks you're giving them is going to get them a narcissist or a sociopath? So these kind of tips and tricks, we don't really know who you are, but take this away and get a quick result, is definitely a red flag for sure. Do you have a green flag, maybe something that we can definitely look out for, Yvonne?
Yeah. A green flag. Do you know when you sit with the person and they're speaking to you, and when they're speaking to you, and they're asking you questions about you, what is that you have done? Your parents, how was their relationship? How did they behave to one another? Did you ever see your father touch your mother gently on the shoulder, or look at her lovingly, peck her on the cheek and go where he was going? Did you ever, what was the relationship like within the family? Where do you come in, with your siblings? How do you siblings get on with each other? That they want to know about you. They're asking about the things, your likes, your dislikes. They're not just, not only are they asking, but they're giving you the opportunity to also speak. And they are listening intently to what you're saying. They're mirroring the way in which you're moving. They're looking at you. They're not making notes about everything, but they're really listening to what you're saying. That is a good red flag that this person and you are going to work well together. There are some people, then when you meet them and from saying hello, you just get that feeling inside you that, this person's going to be good for me. They're going to be okay. And when they speak to you, it's so gentle, what they're saying to you. And when you're hearing what they're having to say, you are blown away by it, because they get you. They actually understand you from what you're saying, and they're not promising you the earth. They're not, making false promises to you. But what they are doing is, and showing you is that, you know what, if you do the work, we can do this. And they're not lying to you by telling you it's going to be done in 2 weeks. They're letting you know that, you know what, this is going to take time, because you're 45, 35, whatever age you are, and it's taken you this long to realize something is wrong. We're not going to fix it in 3 weeks. It's going to take time for it to be done. They're being totally honest with you. You've got dialogue with them. There's something that has resonated in your soul with them, and yeah, that's perfect.
I love that. I love that for a green flag. And it's very similar to what I wrote down here, is that they're challenging a good green flag. And this is where people get duped.
Yes.
False prophets, false leaders, false teachers, false coaches will always feed you a story that's comfortable. It's gonna feel comfortable because, hey, it's their fault. It's men out here. Men are useless. Men are time wasters. There are no good men left. Just fleece them, just play them, trick them, beat them, because these men, you're perfect, by the way. You're an absolute angel. But these men out here, right? That message feels comfortable because we are by nature people who are built to believe that we're good. Every human being believes they're good. Even a pedophile, even a psychopath believes that inherently they're good. This is what we don't understand about the human psyche. Very rarely can a human being say, I am the problem. I am the toxic element. I am the drama. It's very, very difficult because we're not wired to believe that we're inherently evil. And that's why the Bible says the heart of man is desperately wicked, because it states what is not obvious. It's not obvious to us that our hearts are desperately wicked. So when somebody says they are wicked, it's easier to believe. Yeah, defo, these men out here, right? Definitely that guy out here. Now, that is not to say that they aren't men that do these things and that we don't create that content, but be careful that you understand that some men, the content creator has got to make it clear. We here, Black Swan Relationship Academy, teach you ladies how to date high quality, high value men. Not all men. We can't teach you to date all men. I can't teach you how to date a guy from the ghetto. I don't know how. I don't know, right? If you are from some ghetto somewhere and you want these roughneck brothers that wear chains and if that's your juice, honestly, I can't help you get that guy, because these are not the guys that we are specialists at. We are specialists at men who are high quality, men who put in high effort, who are gentlemen, who are responsible, emotionally mature. This is what we teach you ladies to date. So if we are, and to be married to, and to stay married to. So if there's just some advice that is not going to be relevant. So it's important for you to be clear about this content creator. Who do they teach us to date? There's a content creator that's really big on YouTube, and she teaches women how to date men of means. Now, a lot of these young ladies are taking this advice, but they don't realize that she's teaching women to date older men of means. She herself is married to an older man. And so here comes 30-year-old women, or late 20s, even 40-year-old women, and they're trying to make 40-year-old men or 30-year-old men to be this guy that pays their bills. He can't afford it, baby. He can't. He's not. You have to be okay with the sugar daddy game. What she's actually teaching you is the sugar daddy game. It's a whole other game. It's a game I don't play, right? I'm not ignorant to any of these games, but it's a game we don't play. But a lot of people don't look at who is she teaching you to date, really? it's not just in general. So when we're discerning and we're differentiating, look at the people that would fall into that bracket. So now you can have 2 million, 3 million women following you, but I can guarantee you that less than 1% of those women will ever meet a wealthy man ever, who can pay their bills and take care of them and let them stay at home. It's not going to happen because the numbers are not there. It's just, the numbers are just not there. And if it is going to happen, they're going to have to marry a sugar daddy. Very rarely are they going to meet this young, hot, sexy guy in Hollywood who's got all this money, is going to sweep them off their feet. Does that mean they won't meet somebody who's got to provide a mindset? Of course not. But he might not be able to provide at the level that you're teaching. So a lot of women are delusional right now, following these coaches and trying to get rich. If you don't want a sugar daddy, don't follow that coach. But if you're okay with sugar daddy, by all means. So I think people need to understand the brand. They need to understand who are you being taught to date. You know, some dating coaches don't teach women to date high quality men. They teach women how to date just general, average, normal guys. You know, guys who just bog standard, right? The needs are different when you're talking to about high quality men. High quality men have careers and they're time poor and they've got a whole different set of priorities. They want to walk into a room with a certain type of woman, a classy, elegant, sophisticated woman. The average guy just wants to be with a sexy girl, right? It's different priorities. So when you're choosing who to work with, see who they teach you to find, see who their niche is, who their brand is, and don't get caught up in the rhetoric, right? And let's engage our minds. So I love that piece. So if they're challenging you to be better, challenging you to do the work, saying to you, look, honestly, it's going to take 3 months, 6 months, a year. You know, here in the academy, we don't work with anyone less than 3 months. I mean, 3 months is minimum. You know, you should really be in the academy for the rest of your life, either in Black Swan Nation, in a group setting, or in a one-to-one, or working with our counselor, because you've been broken and damaged longer than you've been healed, like Coach Yvonne said. So honesty, you know, don't let people tell you that in 2 weeks' time you'll be doing whatever. Do you have another red flag that our ladies can look for?
Another red flag would be if you're another red flag. Gosh, my brain has gone blank.
I've got one. Do you want me to share one?
Go on. Yes, please. And then I'll
remember yours.
Yes,
a red flag to look for, I think, is check the comment section of every person. Check their comments. I can tell you in my comments, if you talk nonsense about anything, you're out, because we are not toxic here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. And I actually learned this trick from my son. I was asked to speak by a certain podcast, and I wasn't familiar with it because it's kind of in the manosphere. And I sort of said to my son, who was very savvy, what do you think? Do you think these are people that I should speak for? And my son said, nope. And I was like, that was a bit quick. And he said, Mom, always check the comment section. And that has been the best advice ever. The quality of the coach is reflected in the comment section. If you've got angry people in the comment section, the Bible says, by their fruit, you shall know them. By their followers, you shall know them. I believe that is the biggest red flag or green flag. Do you like the quality of their followers, the quality of the comments, the quality of their testimonials? If you go and you see, I remember this other woman that I was following, and in her comments, I've just met a guy last week. How do I clear a third of his income? I was mortified. Another one is, I just cleared half of my man's income last week. And talk about trashy, it's all I need personally, because I know that it's despicable. You know, anyone with any class, decorum, or sophistication knows that we don't talk about money like that. We don't talk about money in those terms, and we certainly don't talk to men in and around money like that. There's so many other ways of being savvy to find out what a man's capable and competent of providing without being crass. And those were pretty much the temperature of the comments. Now, when I look at Black Swan comments right now, even now, I'm getting cute comments. I'm getting, not all sugar daddies are sweet. That's funny. You know, I'm getting thank you, makes sense. The comments of the purchases, time and honesty. I'm getting women that are conscious, that are kind, that are loving. So you just have to follow the comment section to know whether this person is healthy or not, certainly when it comes to consuming their content. Have you thought of your other red flag yet, Yvonne?
I'm still trying to, I don't even know why my brain is not working. Here's one. Do you know, one of the things when doing the research for this that I noticed, that a lot of people were disgruntled because they were asked to pay a lot of money up front and didn't get what it said on the tin.
Yeah.
And if somebody is saying to you before, you know, doing any work with you at all, you filled out a form, somebody then contacted you and said, okay, it's going to cost you this amount to work with, and you have to pay everything up front before we even do a preliminary interview with you. That might be a red flag. What might be a red flag, but that is definitely a red flag. Don't do it. Because you know what, there are very, 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 even if you're buying a house and you're going to pay a deposit, you at least go and visit the house first before you purchase it, to make sure it's what you want when you're parting with a lot of money. Coaching is expensive, and as Chengi said earlier, it used to be elite and now it's become mainstream, but it still is expensive. And the reason why it's expensive, because it is driven by results, because the coach says you're going to do this, and that's exactly what you do at the end of it. And so because of the result that has been levied in the, you know, their terms and condition, that's the reason why you sign on the dotted line. But before you sign on any dotted line with anything, and if they're saying, unless you pay, if you don't give me £12,000, then we can't even have a conversation. Run. Say thank you very much, but no thank you, next, and just keep swiping, just keep going. That is absolutely no,
that's no. Massive scammers. I remember when my Instagram was hacked. No, it wasn't hacked, it was copied. Anyway, they duplicated it. Yeah, they duplicated it, and a friend of mine sort of responded to them, and they were saying things like, okay, here's our PayPal detail, we can help you get the man of your dreams, here are our PayPal details, and just let us know when you've made. And I was thinking, what? It's crazy to me. So, you know, I think that as well, people who may be worried about being scammed for their money are probably people that are being actually scammed by actual scammers, because that should be dodgy to you, you know. Yes. To pay for a preliminary conversation is perfectly fine, but, you know, we're not talking thousands here for a conversation, you know, unless, of course, this person is like Anthony Robbins, you know, Oprah Winfrey, then, well, you're going to pay thousands if, you know, if your money can even get you the attention, because, you know, but, you know, definitely that is a red flag. And we cannot ignore that the relationship space is full of charlatans, because there are three areas where a lot of money can be made. And I say can be made because you don't necessarily make money in those areas, and that is health, money, and relationships. So everybody who's broke, busted, disgusted, or angry at the world can start a channel. You know, money, you kind of need to have some financial understanding of how money moves, and you know, health, you need to have some kind of qualification, understanding of how the body is. But relationships, well, that's open season. It's everyone who's ever had sex, who's ever held hands with another person or kissed another person, feels they're entitled to write the book on relationships. So it's been the area that has been horribly flooded with scammers, with people that are ill-intended. It's actually really scary, because when I go online, I made some of these things of little girls. I think, girl, you're only a baby, be quiet. And I'm not saying that because you can't have wisdom, but there are some things that some really, really young girls will say that you think, maybe not. It's sweet, but maybe not. But she's broke, and she needs some cash, and she heard that on relationship things, so she goes to somebody else's video channels, copies some of the stuff and regurgitates it. And because relationships make us so vulnerable, when we are hurting and we've been ghosted or disappointed, anyone that resonates with our pain becomes our healer. And we're so vulnerable when it comes to relationships. So I actually know a coach who started because they were broken, they didn't know what else to do. It wasn't because they had a particular gifting or a particular calling. It was just, well, I was broke and I thought, well, these people seem to be making money. So again, for me, before you even engage, do you know this person's story? I find that the ones that I respect, because there are quite a few that I really respect online, they tell their story. Their story, them. Even if you watch 2 or 3 or 4 videos, you already know them. You get a sense. You don't know them intimately, but you know that, oh, this person was divorced and then they remarried, and they've got kids. They talk about themselves, not like full on, but they talk about themselves. I find that the ones a bit dodge never ever talk about themselves, because often they don't have the experience or the life. It's just do this, and do the other. And I think it's worthwhile following people who are transparent. They don't have to share everything and show you their privates for you to trust them. But I think you want somebody who can be transparent, who can share personal stories, who can relate and say, you know what, I bleed here, you bleed there. I think that's important. It definitely would be a marker for me if I'm going to use anybody's services. I want to feel their humanity. I don't need them to be perfect. I just need them to be experienced and have a heart for me, be committed to win with me, committed to my winning. So any green flag to end it off? We've got 10 minutes. Another green flag that you might have?
Another green flag would be that if you're looking for a coach, and the person who you're working with is they have the same ethos that you do. Their
values,
their values are like yours. If you're Christian and they're Christian, and you have shared beliefs, and they just, that's a person that you can work with, because you have shared belief here. Because you could have a good coach out there, but you don't agree with their ethos. You don't agree with a lot of the things that they say. They are interested in crystals and in what the sun and the moon's doing, and all those astral projection and all of that. But that's not where you're at. It's not to say that they're not a good coach, but to have somebody who has the same values that you do, I think is a really great green flag.
Yeah, I like that too. I think shared values, because to be honest, look, if you're going to spend 3 to 6 months to a year with a person, at least try and like them.
Yes.
You know, and it's great. I love that, you know, a lot of our clients, not all, but a lot of our clients are Christian. I love that we can start coaching calls with prayer. I like that. They can reach out to either of us just for prayer. And I know with you, Coach Yvonne, because you do High Valley Girls Prayer as well in the Black Swan Leadership Academy, you know, you get to pray with them. It's so powerful and so nice. I actually enjoy the experience of knowing that I can pray with a client or pray for a client, and they know what that means for me to pray for them. And, you know, even my clients who are not saved, who are not Christian, really appreciate we still have the same values. We still have the same, they might not ascribe to Christianity, but they're still good people that are stoic in their worldview, who believe in doing good to others and believe in being honest and transparent. And even, you know, and of course, I always ask whether you're Christian or not, if it's okay for me to pray with you. And even if most of them are like, yeah, I'd love for you to pray with me, you know. So I think it's so handy and so useful to have that shared, it's not just about spirituality, but shared values. You know, I've had Muslim clients for the beginning of my career. I had Muslim clients, and I said to them, why are you calling me? Like, and it was like, well, because we share the same values. You know, we might be Islamic and you might be Christian, but we're all Abrahamic. We all come from the sort of Abrahamic religion, and we share the same values. And in our community, we don't have people that can teach us these things. And I've started seeing some Muslim coaches coming up now, more than ever, which is great. Because again, I think it's good when you can relate doctrinally, you know, with people. But again, I was able to help them. I was able to coach them. I was able to give them, you know, healthy relationships, even though we did not have the same faith. So that key piece of shared values, I think, is a fantastic green flag. My last green flag really is, because I got loads, but I would say the last one is a coach that doesn't require you to do any internal work. And they're talking about relationship. Now, dating is different. Dating can be very strategic. It can be say this, do this, go here, stay here, wear that, do that. It can be a strategic game. Relationships are an internal thing. Relationships are when hearts meet. Relationships are when lives live together. Relationships are you can't, are where we're naked and unashamed. And if you want a healthy relationship, if you want to have fun dating, by all means, there's some amazing coaches that will give you great scripts and do all these. I know coaches who are just so good at the game and the whole attraction piece and really getting any, you know, some people are really, really talented, you know, including our team. But I believe that if it's a relationship you want, any coach that says you don't have to do internal work,
run.
That's a red flag. But if you go on a channel and that channel talks a lot about healing, a lot about internal work, a lot about doing the work, a lot about facing yourself, any channel that you go to that will make you introspect, that will challenge you, that will say, perhaps I'm not perfect, that is a green flag. I would definitely invest time, money, and research into those professionals. And that goes for therapists, that goes for, to be honest, I personally have my set of coaches and therapists and mentors, I beg your pardon, and all of them have an element of internal work. You're not going to teach me about my business if you don't teach some element of internal work. You're not going to teach me about my money if you don't teach an element of internal work. You're not going to, because I genuinely do not believe that you can create anything lasting and meaningful without any transformation, without challenging your way of thinking and being. So I think it's a really great green flag when somebody requires you, calls you to, and I know like Matthew Hussey gets a lot of slack because he's one of the top ones, but I would say that I like him because he does address the internal space. You know, he does address where you're coming from. So loads and loads, like a whole list of green flags and red flags, but we have committed to sticking within our time. So we might come back with this, but definitely leave some questions in the comments. We'll come back and answer them. If we need to do another video, we will. But we want to make sure that our Black Swans are protected. We want to make sure that you're safe. And we want to make sure that those who are ear hustling and passing by and just interested in the topic and want to kind of learn more about how to be savvy, get the results. And I want to invite you to the journey that the Black Swan Relationship Academy is inviting you to, which is an educational journey. We need to veer away from advice culture to education culture, where we understand how men think, how women think, how that man thinks, how that man would think. The more information you have that is put together in such a way that it educates you and enlightens you, you're going to be able to advise yourself better. You're going to be able to know the difference better. So we really, really want to encourage you to join the Black Swan Nation, download the courses, and join the retreat. The retreat on the 17th of June. It's going to be fun. Yes. Where we're getting unstuck, kickstarting our dating lives. We've all been stuck, and check out our socials, check out the shorts here. So in the next few weeks, you're going to be hearing loads from us. Any final word, Yvonne? We've got 2 minutes, so I'm giving you.
Okay, my final word is just buttressing something that you said. You know what? All of us have been hurt in our relationship life, and as we're going through it. And if you're seriously wanting somebody to work with you, then do the work in finding them. And make sure when you're looking for them, don't just look for something that is shiny. And because it looks shiny and everyone seems to be here and they're talking about, no, because not everyone is going to be suitable for you. Not everyone is going to have what you are looking for. Know what it is that you want to, what you're looking for, what you want to change, and where you want to go. When you know those questions, when you know the answer to those questions, then look for the coach that you want, that is going to be able to provide you with the right tools in order for you to be able to activate that particular journey that you're on. And unless you can do that, then you know what? Wait until it happens. Don't rush it. It's not something that you should rush. It's something that you should really sit down with time and go through and look at many. Get recommendations from any of your friends. Sometimes our girlfriends have gone through issues, but they just haven't said anything because they maybe felt ashamed of what they were going through, or they felt that I can't possibly tell anyone that this happened to me, or, that I'd broken up with him 6 months ago and I've just made everything seem. They don't want to talk about it. But you know what? They do know somebody who they've worked with, and they're able to tell you. And then, get a recommendation. As Chengi said, look at the comments that people have made. Don't just choose like that. It's not a quick fix that you're looking for. This is going to take time to put you back together again and make you whole so that you can find the love that you want and that lasting relationship that is going to take you into celebrating your Ruby anniversary and beyond.
Love it. Thank you so much. Well, I'm hoping that we were helpful and that we helped you sort of figure out how to navigate the space. The Black Swan Relationship Academy is amazing, if I say so myself. But I understand that, we can sometimes need to supplement. There's some things that we may not cover. We can't cover everything all the time. And, you might want to have a few other people that you do listen to, that I know that some of our viewers listen to R.C. Blake's, listen to, Dr. Daff, to people who are similar, who bring different perspectives. I'm all for it. So, when you are choosing people other than ourselves, we hope that we've given you enough to not get seduced and sort of drawn into the wrong path. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us. And looking at the comments right now, Chengi has definitely been a blessing to my life. Can't wait to see where God takes her next. Thank you, Cynthia. Love you, everybody, for your beautiful, beautiful comments and for joining us here tonight. We will be back with Unique next week. And who knows, we might be able to rope in the other coaches. But we will see you all next time. With all of our love, take care of you. Bye-bye.
Bye.